I would ask if you would all stand with us, join in a moment of silence, and then the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll continue with roll call.
Granquist,
Here.
Langy,
Here.
Merrill,
Here.
Clausen,
Here.
Murin, Moaning,
Here.
Faust,
Here.
File.
Here.
All right. And if I could, I would ask for approval of the consent agenda.
So move. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
And as well, I'm looking for approval of the full agenda in your packet.
So moved. Second.
Motion with the second to approve the full agenda. Again, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
All right. We have a couple special presentations this evening. First of all, I'm going to start with the proclamation for the November 29th Small Business Saturday. The proclamation reads, "The City of Norfolk, Nebraska celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. According to the United States Small Business Administration, there are currently 23 million small businesses in the United States that represent more than 99% of the American employer firms, create more than 2/3 of the net new jobs, and generate 46% of private gross domestic product. And whereas small businesses employ over 55% of the working population in the United States, 89% of consumers in the United States agree that small businesses contribute positively to the local community by supplying jobs and generating tax revenue. And whereas 87% of consumers in the United States agree that small businesses are critical to the overall economic health of the United States, and whereas 93% of consumers in the United States agree that it's important for people to support the small businesses that they value in their community, and whereas the City of Norfolk, Nebraska supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our neighborhoods, and whereas advocacy groups as well as public and private organizations across the country have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Sue Fookman, Mayor of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, by the power vested in me, do hereby proclaim November 29, 2014, as Small Business Saturday in the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, and commend them for their dedicated service to the small business community." So that being read into, I think anyone probably would be more than happy to receive this, but I think the Chamber is the one that will probably hang it for us. So the next proclamation is read aloud to Child Month. Whereas literacy is a fundamental building block of all learning and is essential to the growth and the success of every child in our city, and whereas reading to children enlarges their vocabulary and enhances their listening skills, thereby fostering intellectual growth and a more positive attitude toward reading, and whereas reading to a child is a simple and priceless act that benefits both adult and child, positively contributing to family literacy and strengthening the bond between a parent and a child, and whereas when parents assume the responsibility for children's literacy, making a commitment to reading for 20 minutes a day, children become more healthy, resilient, and inquisitive. And whereas Read Aloud to Your Child for 20 minutes a day is a nationally recognized program that has been in existence for more than 25 years. And whereas Read Aloud Norfolk, the Norfolk Public Library, Norfolk area schools, and other organizations representing parents, teachers, librarians, and concerned citizens advocate for reading aloud to children because it fosters healthy interaction between adults and children. And whereas reading aloud to children will enhance family literacy and the well-being of young people throughout our city. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Sue Fookman, Mayor of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, by the power vested in me, do hereby proclaim November 2014 as Read Aloud to a Child Month in the City of Norfolk and the surrounding area, and encourage all parents, teachers, librarians, and other caring adults to read aloud to a child. And I always know Mark and group are here to receive this. I commend them for all the work and the positive efforts that are put into this. So, Mark, is it you, Lisa, who's, oh,
With Amy and Alexander, they're primetime reading family.
very good. Well, you want to come forward? Pardon me? You bet we want you right here. You bet, thank you. Alex, where do you go to school, Alex?
Westside Elementary.
Okay, and who used to you ever have?
My mom.
Does she? Very good. Well, I tell you what, we're gonna let you take this over and. Take a picture, please. You bet, you bet. And I don't think there's anybody that probably puts in near as much time as both Mark and Lisa do on this project as far as reading within our schools. I don't know, I often get a slip in and see what's going on, but seeing the loud efforts that are tremendous, and the families that are coming together with their children to the schools to have the opportunity to have someone to keep up the good work. And thanks for what you do for the community. Appreciate having you here. Okay, we're going to skip into our public hearings here. I'm not overlooking the citizens, but I know they want to stay for this public hearing. So we're going to let them experience it and go right into a public hearing at the request of D&M Underground LLC for zone change from A Agricultural to Business Park at 709 South 37th Street. So I will open this hearing, and Trent, did I hit you off guard? You want to do a little educating for us first?
Mayor and council, I will. I pulled that up on the map there, I'll be pointing at the general area that D&M Underground came in. They bought this 10-acre parcel here just below South Street storage, South 37th Street storage, I think is what the name of that is there. So they had bought that parcel and they run an underground boring, smaller underground boring company. Nothing real large machinery wise, and they're looking at building a building and most of that stuff that's out there now they're looking at putting it indoors because it is expensive, and of course the copper wire and all that, there's always concerns with that. And this whole area here, the comp plan is showing this area along with the whole corridor 275 there as a commercial, a C3 type of business. Dinkle has their line coming down right above that, which is C3, and that comes down to the half-mile mark there. And we do have a Warren garage door in the general area. They are operating under a planned development right now, and then we have a conditional use permit as well there for the storage out there. So they're looking at a rezone here, and I guess we don't, with the general lay of the land and what the future beholds, hard to say for sure, but it does show it as commercial and BP for this area. So
Okay. As this is a hearing, is there anyone in the audience that wants to come forward, speak to this, that may have support of? Good evening. We'll ask you, if you will, to state your name for us and sign in.
Okay. Natasha Figueroa.
Okay.
And I'm the administrator for D&M Underground.
Very good.
There's no pen.
No pen up there?
No.
Okay. Do you want to tell us about this a little bit? Anything you want to add to this? Or certainly Trent has given us a little bit of the history, but
Okay. Well, we are a smaller boring company. Basically, we just want to build a warehouse on 80 by 60 for now, unless we expand, to go ahead and store all our equipment, wouldn't be outside. And then we also have supplies as of carpet or fibers,
Sure.
reels, and we also want to be able to put that inside. Our main thing is we're going to keep it as business park-like as we need to. But our majority, we just need to go ahead and just build a storage that we can make sure that everything as well is safe and gate all around the area so that it's safe for everybody within the area.
Okay,
Okay?
very good. Council, any questions for her? Okay, thanks for coming forward. Anyone else that wants to come forward and speak to this or may have questions? Okay. Seeing none then, discussion among the council? Boy, rather quiet here. All right, that being said, do we have a planning commission report?
The Norfolk Planning Commission held a public hearing at the request of D&M Underground LLC for a zone change from A agricultural to BP Business Park at 709 South 37th Street. D&M Underground operates an underground boring business, and they wish to relocate their business to that location. They plan to build an 80 by 60 building to store equipment. The area is in a wellhead protection district, so the building and operation will have to observe requirements set aside for the district. There are several other businesses operating on South 37th Street. However, they are regulated by conditional use permits and a planned development. This is a first request for a zone change, and comp plan reveals this area as business park. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the zone change on a 7-0 vote.
Okay, and with that, I will close this hearing then and look for consideration of ordinance number 5325 that would be approving the zone change from A agricultural to BP Business Park at 709 South 37th Street.
Your Honor, I'd offer for consideration ordinance number 5325.
Second that, Your Honor.
Okay, we have a motion with a second. Any further discussion at all? If not, short title, Beth.
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Madison County, Nebraska, amending the zoning district map of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, providing when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and providing for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
All right, and with that, shall we vote?
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5325 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I'd move, as there was very little input on this and that, and it seems to pass in flying colors, that we suspend the rules and pass this on second and third.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and pass this on second and third reading. If no further discussion, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5325 carries on second and third.
All right. Next on the agenda is a request for consideration of approval for a change order number 1 with Elkhorn Paving Construction Company for concrete improvements, 2014-1 Fifth Street. The project resulting in a net increase of $9,468.31 for a new contract price of $192,122.16. Looks to me like, Mark, you're going to tell us what happened.
All right. Basically, this is just a final change order for Fifth Street. You'll notice with the enclosure that about half of that was related to unit price. Is basically at the beginning of the project, we bid the project and you get unit prices. So if you go over or under on quantities, you adjust to reflect that. The other few items were due to a few things that came up during construction that we didn't have planned for, such as there was some underground storm sewer that needed some work done that wasn't what we anticipated once we got the street dug up. We weren't anticipating doing much storm sewer work, so that was one item. One of the local property owners was wanting to redo a sidewalk, and in order to do that, we needed to remove and replace some curb and gutter along Madison Avenue. So just kind of help get that block nice and cleaned up and finalized. So we agreed to, if he did his sidewalk, replace the sidewalk, we would do the curb and gutter. And then we also had to do some additional work for some electrical repairs as we had some bad conduit there. So those are kind of the overall view of what's involved in the change order. Again, that's the final change order, and that should wrap up this project. Any questions?
Okay, hearing none. Thanks, Mark, appreciate it. Any further discussion or questions about this, folks? If not, then I would ask for your vote. Oh, do I have a motion? Yeah, we did, didn't we? In a second? Okay. Yep. You're scaring me, Beth.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Okay. One more thing on the agenda before we get to this, though, I do want to just once again acknowledge the students that are here, from all of you from the College of Nursing, am I right there? I appreciate the fact that you continuously are showing up at these meetings and supporting and inquisitive about what's going on. So again, I just acknowledge you, and certainly from this community, knowing what it's going to be, that you're going to be for us in the near future, in not maybe right here in Norfolk, but certainly for the state of Nebraska. We're going to keep you here. So thanks for what you're doing, and again, thanks for your involvement in city government. So, and with that, we're going to look to the 2014 snow and ice plan, and I believe Mr. Dooley is going to come forward and talk to us about that.
Well, Mayor and Council, I'm a little nervous about doing this, to be honest.
Well, and Jim, I hope you realize we got all these academy folks out here that are going to have lots of questions for you afterward, too, so.
It's the first time I ever had to address the Mayor and Council. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about my new position. As far as my plan for snow removal, my plan is to let the people that know how to move snow, I mean, that's a plan that's been in effect for 25 years. They've done an excellent job. The staff's excited about the plan. They're excited about getting ready for snow removal, and we're ready. So with that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
Well, Jim, it's going to be you that we get a call this year then, right? When there's
Exactly.
questions?
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Well, let me take this opportunity to say congratulations on what it is that you've now taken responsibility for in this community. We're glad that you are certainly still with this community. You brought a lot of, over the years, Jim was very active. Why don't you tell a little bit and tell these citizens what you are all about and the position you've taken? Don't let me speak for you. You do better.
It's kind of hard to talk about yourself, but
It's okay. You have a lot to be able to share.
I was with the fire department for 35 years, and it was probably the toughest thing I ever did, is resigning.
But it was done with a lot of respect by all those that supported you over the years, Jim, because they knew what it was that you brought to them and the teaching that you were and a part of that part. So as grateful as they were, and when you made that decision to resign, to be able to look at what you brought forward and what they shared is what gave us opportunity to look at a position that we were looking to fill. So I'm excited for you now, you know, to go from fire to ice, snow and ice.
There you go.
It's all good.
Pretty good assessment.
It's a good. It's all good. So,
One thing that I have, you know, city staff is city staff. I mean, they're all great people. You know, until you've actually experienced those folks and what they do and how committed they are to the city, it's pretty impressive. Unless you've ever been there, I think that's hard to understand. But when those folks are getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and doing that snow removal, to me, that tugs at my heart. And I feel proud of those folks and their passion for getting ready to do snow removal. I mean, they're just throwing all kinds of stuff at you, how they're ready, and be assured they are.
well, we appreciate the fact that, like you say, you recognize that certainly they've been doing it. They've got a plan in place, and you're just going to watch. And maybe this year, Jim, it's a matter of if there's things that maybe you can see that might need some tweaking, maybe adjusting, that's what your position is there to help them look at it as well. So, but I know we can count on you. So If none of you from this council have any questions for him?
I don't really have a question, have a comment. I'd like to welcome you, and I'm sure it'll do well. And I know this plan is on the website that way, so I would encourage citizens to read it. One important thing to remember is so that when you go out on Prospect Avenue, 5th Street, and 34th Street Circle, and you don't see any ice down on it, and it's a little bit slippery, but there's a lot of gravel out there, it's because it's a brand-new street, and this plan says that we're not gonna spread ice, or we're not gonna spread salt on that because of the negative impacts that it has on new concrete that way. And then the other thing that I was glad to see, because I think the Route 4, or not Route 4, but as it moves to Step 4, where they start at on snow and ice removal, I think it's my area first this year. Finally on the top that way, but if you look in there, it's great information. And Jim kind of said that we wouldn't have snow or ice until after Christmas time, so.
Exactly, exactly.
And one thing I just want to point out is to remind the press and the people in the news media that we don't go out unless there's 2 or 3 inches.
If there's over 2 inches, then
There's
we
over
then
2
we go
inches,
out, yeah.
then you go out. So if there's
Exactly.
under 2 inches, there won't be a snowplow out, so just so they realize that, and that's the reason.
Yeah.
Some people don't remember that or forget about it, so.
And that plan is designed to be fair. I mean, it's divided into 10 sections, and each of those sections have 2 to 3 areas. And then every time that we have a snowfall, that continually rolls. So if you're not the first one on the list to get your snow removed the first time, then the next time that it comes around, you're going to be the next one up. So it's a very sound system. It's something that Jim Cook developed 25 years ago and was nationally recognized for his plan. So it's a very solid plan. It's nothing I'm going to change. And I'm very proud of those folks for being so passionate about getting ready to remove snow for the city of Norfolk.
Okay.
Well, since we've got opportunity to talk here, I just want to say I'm just delighted that you're where you're at. And
thank you.
I know you know that resigning from the fire department, I think, is probably something you do with a pen. I don't think that you can ever resign from the fire department not
very
having it in
true.
blood like you do. And we appreciate those years of service, and I just want to say it's a pleasure having you.
Yeah, I
This new
told
position, we look forward
I
to
told
it.
my wife when I signed that resignation letter, it was like signing divorce papers, because that's how much I care about those folks, so.
Well, it certainly shows, and it's a testament to you as
Thanks.
a public servant. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, the last thing on our agenda then is to ask for our 101 class. If I'm going to call the name, and Diane, are you going to come forward and help with this? Why don't you do that? What we're going to see here tonight is the successful completion of Norfolk's second class 101, so the Citizens Academy. I encourage any of you that might have interest in this to talk to these people that are going to be introduced. And they can answer all the questions that you might have as to why, thanks. No. As to why it might be something that you're interested in. And you know what? I really think it'd be a great idea for some of our local media folks to get involved and hear the rest of what goes on.
Let's talk about music for the first time.
Oh, that's right. Well, I stand corrected. All right. How about Teresa Lane? You want to come forward? We have a certificate for you. And we're going to ask if you'll just stand up here, Teresa, and we'll form a line and get those that are here tonight. So Greg Jorgensen. Greg, appreciate it very much. Thanks for taking the time. We got Tom Higginbotham. I understand you were one of the more disturbing members sometimes during class. That's what I was told.
Goes back to high school.
Ray Hurley.
What's that about?
Why was I not surprised either, Tom?
Just right.
Wait, thank you. You bet. Julie Granquist. Are you ready to take on, Julie?
Yes.
Okay, very, thank you, thank you. And her other half, which is Mr. Corey Grandquist. I couldn't resist. Thank you. You bet, you bet. How about Gretchen Forsell? Gretchen, thank you very much. Hopefully you won't hurt others. Thanks. And Carl? Yeah, I will. Thank you. You didn't want to do that, I don't want to. And Mary Jan Bialy? Two, and excuse me, out there, promote a course and get young ones just like yourself involved. You bet. Fred Weeblehouse? Fred, thanks very much. I'll be waiting to get there. Okay, good. And Holly Quinn?
I don't mind not signing.
I will take care of that. There's a few others that were unable to be with us tonight. Some are out of state. Gail Bender, Russ Wilcox, Danielle McEwen, Danelle McEwen. My fault. Raymond Morse. Okay, those are 4 other graduates as well. So again, thanks to all of you for taking time out. And I would like to think that for all of you, it was a great experience, a learning experience. And you'll share your knowledge, encourage others to take part in it. And if you have ideas or suggestions on how maybe we can better it, she's a lady. She's responsible for all this. And believe me, a city, the council, and certainly your staff appreciates the fact that you did bring this together. And it truly, I believe, has been very enlightening. So, again, congratulations. Thanks for your time. Okay. And seeing nothing further on the,
Your Honor, if I may?
certainly.
Thank you. Tomorrow's Election Day.
Yes, that's a true statement.
And in my way of thinking, probably the most important day of the year for anybody that's a citizen. We have these folks that just got out of the academy, and it's everybody's responsibility and right to vote. We hope that you take advantage of that privilege.
Well stated. So, any other comments or anything? All right. With that, I will adjourn the meeting.